So
of it cannot be
performance,
on her. Two of it
performance.
cannot be on her. One person, one after the other.
Waiting be this woman. Adura Mitigba. Can you sort
Meeting
out
IT, I
your
came to
audio?
answer
We
that
can't hear
question
you.
with
Sort out your
evidence.
audio. I'm speaking with Salzot for now. Let me just have this with Salzot, right? So it is just known in the industry, whether you are Black, Caucasian, Hispanic, or you are an actor, you are anything. So what you call recreational drugs is an enhancement for you to get what you need to perform sometimes. We see the video, we see Burna Boy, we see Wheezy, and you just see them. They don't hide it, and they just quickly have a few puff. Even sometimes when they are performing and the injection is not really there, the video you will see him with that red cup, it's got brandy in it or something, and then they will go to the side stage, they will give him his puff, he will puff it, and they will carry on performing. That is life. We don't hide it. We don't hide it in the entertainment industry. We shouldn't use that as an excuse to want to create imbalance in our arguments. So let's leave the colors, let's
Yeah,
leave
look
the
at Snoop Dogg.
Igbo, and let's
Look at
leave the
Snoop Dogg.
exactly. Snoop Dogg, if you invite Snoop Dogg to a studio in America live, you will still allow him to blaze, John Blaze, and he will blaze open live. It's part of his contract. If he cannot blaze, because he's got his own farm, he's selling his own little cushy stuff from marijuana, but you need to allow him to roll his joint and just enjoy the joint. It's part of the game.
You can
So let's
say
not
that to
look at it.
Nigerians because
No, 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 no,
I
no.
did not say so.
Salzot,
You
relax.
can
Let
say
me
that to
speak now. Why do you
Nigerians
keep
who were using
interjecting
it
now?
to bully
Báwo la ṣe
him.
fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ tó bá
They were
interject
using
now?
it to bully
Ṣé o
him.
need láti gba àwòsàn ni? Ṣé ìyá yìí need láti gba àwòsàn ni? Ẹ fún ní injection kó dákẹ́ now.
IT,
Let people speak now.
Whatever.
IT.
Whatever.
I just want
Whatever. I don't care.
Don't forget the
We
fact.
never enter here by
The
left.
fact that Mohbad said,
You don't know.
Toba
For
Pamiton,
Mohbad,
is that what you want to be posting?
You people,
After you
Selma,
buy me,
please.
all the evidence, everything Sam Larry
Please.
came after
Please,
Mohbad
one at a
buying.
time. One at a time. Sele, go ahead and speak, please.
Okay, just 1 minute. Don't forget the fact that Mohbad in his only voice note evidence said, Toba Pami, is that what you want to post after you buy me? Where is my iCloud? Where is my WhatsApp? This and that. And all the evidences Sam Larry is, only his petition was online and it was just in a newspaper. Every other evidences, the 5 seconds, the 3 seconds, the this and that came after. And most of these evidences were in distraction from us not looking towards that house. There was no evidence to say it was that house. They threw those evidence out to say it was Sam Larry and Naira Marley, and that was the distraction. What about the DNA? DNA could have come anytime. For Mohbad himself to be saying that you are pretending that you are in the hospital, this and that, with Baba Mohbad also coming out to say whatever he said. Also with the fact that Wunmi herself under oath said that it was because of placenta that made Baba to turn to an enemy. If I was the grandfather, I will also make sure that the paternity of my grandson for future purpose, Koro Mabagbe in the future. You understand? So yeah. It's not late. It came at the right time.
Yeah, Sale, thank you for that, brilliant, submission. But in this whole scenario, in the present scenario as regards the DNA, I'm not sure they said widow is against doing the DNA, except, I stand to be corrected. So far, I think the delay is not from a camp. It should be from the father, according to all the legal issues he had with the past and the present, lawyer. So if that is not our fault, so why are we not putting it or painting it like, she's running away from the DNA?
Oh, Big Ola, can you hear me? Big Ola, can you hear me? Yes. You see,
Yes.
the best way Wumi could have defended herself and her territory in this case was when Mohbad Pani, immediately the DNA was done, 5 month old, especially when she was going to mention the child, tell the whole world, people who are older than you, the whole world is 25 years older than you, and you are telling us that your 5 months you had to cook jollof rice when the nurse that injected your son that caused Goop's bump, according to you, that made him to lost his life, she was not arrested, and you did not make sure that that story is allowed by, then you came out to say they released a lot of things, but in between there was an agreement, and I believe it is possible that the same people that are giving Joseph Aloba friendly slap, started giving him that friendly slap from that day that the man saw that body. You understand? Yeah, so it could have affected a lot of things. Spending 3 hours in the hospital, you understand, in the police station, 3 hours, 3 hours. So I want to know what happened in those 3 hours. So many things have
Yes.
influenced. If she has done the DNA, if she had hold herself with the DNA results, autopsy and toxicology, that is not saying anything have to do with her. I don't see any evidence to defend oneself.
Obviously,
You
you know she
understand?
wouldn't have.
Then
Obviously,
for you
yeah, I
to
get
now
you.
come
I
out
get
to
you.
say
You know she wouldn't have
that
done the
child,
DNA on her
wait, my
own.
brother, wait.
Okay.
Then to now come out to say ikú tó yẹ kó pa your own child ló pa ọkọ ẹ, ọmọ ẹlòmíì. You understand? Those things are red
Sele, wait,
flag.
wait,
Red.
Sele, I'm glad you're a Yoruba person. You know, in the course of all these things, Baba Mohbad also said something similar like that. He said, Tomo Eniraku, I think it was in the course of, the burial. So that as the father is not supposed to witness the burial of his son. So instead, the son should have been the one witnessing his own burial. I think he said something similar to such, thing. So if in the place of that same expression, the widow said, instead of the son to die, and Mohbad will now mourn a son. Mohbad accidentally or directly, I don't quote my word, that won't be like, that's what she said. So the late, artist died instead of their child to buy. So you understand? So that is still more or less an expression. And when we talk about she ought to have said so thing, she ought to have said so thing. In real life documentation or documentary, there are times they'll put humor, they'll put trailer, they'll put all sort of things. It's not like that's the whole life story of that person, but they understood that at one point there are meant to be some good times and the bad time. So in connecting this to whatever she must have said or had said at the beginning, I heard someone said I'm working for me. I'm not working for anybody. I'm just like a free thinker like you.
What
Yeah.
you are
So
saying, I concur with it. But I'm saying to you, to have saved herself from this normal thing, for anybody to be talking about widow victimization, it will not have started with Wumi. You understand? If there is no reaction, if there's no action, there won't be reaction. If she had defended herself with private autopsy, you understand,
if you have, sorry,
toxicology and every
sorry,
other,
wait,
you understand,
sorry.
nobody
See,
will have to
look at it from
bury
this
her
angle.
son.
Look
Nobody
at
will
it from
say
this angle.
anything.
Look.
The
No, I
whole
understand what
world
you're
will
trying to
be
say.
in her
I understand what
defense
you're.
to say our father-in-law, you, this
Look at it.
family, they
Look at
want
it from
to
this
rob
angle. Look
her.
at it from this
It is
angle.
not bad.
When
Please let Sele finish what he's saying before you interject so we can actually understand what's being said. Then you can interject.
I hope you understand me, Big Dollar.
no, place
Defended
the
herself.
facts side by side.
She
Yeah.
would have defended herself. In the case of homicide, nobody knows who did it. You understand? Even the eyewitness say I dey pain am, he dey cook jollof rice, 5 month old. Fine. You can defend yourself with anything, but there are some evidences beyond reasonable doubt. Autopsy would have told the whole world that, oh, this was this, it is the nurse, not you went to the hospital 2:30, one is saying that he came at 11:30, Darosha is saying this. It's all clear, there is a defense. And when you talk about DNA, you see some agents come out with power to fight you. DNA should not be an issue now. And I'm saying,
All right.
Igola, a negative DNA result in this case of Mohbad will change the decision of that DPP that
Yeah, yeah,
seems unchangeable.
yeah. Can I comment? Can I comment now? Let's first of all look at it theoretically now. At what point, or at what stage, or at what time would she have done a DNA? Is it when the late Mo died, or when she was being accused? And would she be admissible if she had done a DNA on her own without involving the father? That's the accuser now in this question now. So if you're not being accused initially of carrying another person's child to another, would there be any need for you to carry out a DNA? Which is absolutely no. So for her to even consider doing a DNA to come as a result of an accuser. So now that the accuser has stepped forward and requested for a DNA, I think that's been discussed already, and so far so good. Now it is still the accuser that is stalling the same DNA that's been requested. So now let me take you back. That is why I want to believe, like, we all started following this whole thing initially. Because when Mo died, and thank God, graciously, till date, we're yet to actually have any concrete evidence that this is what by this guy. So that being said, the widow in question came out after the pie of her husband, that her husband was assaulted till the end of his time. So if by going by that narrative, that's, to me, I don't know about other people, I don't know how they see it or how they think about it. If going about what she said initially, so I feel like, okay, it's normal. You could have emotional damage, you could have this, you could have that as a result of severe or several assaults, which the father in question concurred to at one point. It was just limited or timid to mention names or to address the issue directly, until when table turns, then he begin to, like, talk about, okay, somebody buy a son, it is the concubine that buy the son. In all of what he said, he never for once mentioned the wife buy a son. So suddenly, you know it's beginning to, like, sound very funny when, without no even any concrete evidence stated or provided, then we all assume, because that's one of the reasons why people will probably follow up from day one. Because I sometimes wonder where some people are getting their fact from, if you actually follow this whole thing from initial stage. So then I'm beginning to wonder, like, okay, if at the initial stage the father was mute, it was in accordance with what this wife, with the widow, said, then they were having this narrative. Then suddenly the father switched, and when he switched, we noticed that there were several group of people who decided to begin to fund his lifestyle, fund this, fund that. Then you now want a widow who probably had no public support, so as to say to come out and start defending himself against is a whole lot of people. If you observe closely, it took her a very long time before
Like
she suddenly began to grant interview.
Big Ola,
Did you say?
we are forgetting
Yeah.
the fact that as at September 12 or 13, that the whole world started seeing the drama from this family. After that time, Wunmi herself, through her spokesperson, Shepeteri, said they have done DNA and the results will be posted. So. They had a lot of, they were talking about that DNA. You understand? They
when
were
when they
giving
when she
us
was accused,
wrong.
right? That was when she was
No,
accused. I
no,
think
no,
so. That was
no,
when she was
no,
accused.
no.
You
There
can't
was no
publicly
talk.
come outside.
No,
You know,
no, no,
let's make it sense.
no.
Let's make
There
it
was
make
no.
sense.
There
Let's make it
was
sense.
not too
How can
much
you suddenly
activity.
no, no,
There
wait,
was not too much
wait. I'm
activity
trying to
about
like,
DNA.
sorry, wait. I'm trying to like get it right now. Like suddenly, I wasn't asked of a DNA. I wasn't asked of a death certificate. Then I come on, on a public space, and I decided to say, okay, this is the DNA to my child. This is the death certificate of my husband. Then people, in their right senses, will actually think, then what's the motive? If you've not actually did something wrong. So we saying she did a private DNA without being accused of bringing in a bastard. Let me use the word bastard. It sounded very very funny.
Well, uh, what I came up to talk about was that the fact that you said the evidences of Mohbad being bullied was released immediately. The only one time we saw Mohbad coming out on live was when he had a fight in the Malian house. We already talked about it. Mohbad was the one that was manipulated to go into to change his manager because they had some normal man to man, and he was just one person. Yes. So it was different from the fact that Malian or Mali was beating him. The Malians, those guys were Malians at that time. But the whole world saw it. Then after that
Are
time,
we? Are we?
the
Sorry.
ones
Before you go
we
forward,
saw,
are we? Sorry. Before you go forward, are we quoting? Are we quoting the evidences or the voice note or the video? Evidences Mohbad left behind. If you're talking about that, then that is more or less admissible in court too, because those are his word. So
no,
irrespective whether sorry, hold on, irrespective whether it's a disagreement, we can as well say all the voice notes he released about Wunmi is also a petty disagreement between two lovers. So if you can come out to this, you understand? If you can come out to say
Wumi
all
did not
those
call it.
things he said,
He did not call it disagreement.
No,
He said he was
Mobile
on
said it. No,
Kolo's. He
no, no,
had
no.
been reacting, and she
I'm
had
referring to
to
that.
record
Even
him.
Malian, even Naira said the same thing that he was high on shit on stuff. Sorry, he was high on stuff. That was why each time he pick up his phone and he
We
records.
all know the
So
consequences. Understand how the music industry is not the first
the gang,
for
yeah,
us
it's
to
always
see.
like a gang, it's like a gang
Exactly.
thing. So it's understandable. But I'm saying there were video evidences even right before the guy by nobody like stood up. The energy wasn't so big. Even people who were outside the shore of this country saw the video. Thank God blogs were all over the place then. It wasn't like the blog just started functioning right now. So many people saw it. Even some people that are the far front of this so-called justice stylishly we just look at it and move away. Just like the typical bloggers will tell you, I'm on theater, I'm on theater. So they tend to actually shy away from those kind of things. It's not as if they don't see it. They shy away from it. But now that it's beginning to seem like a platform, a revenue generating topic for so many people, that is why you see some people quoting this section of this that section of that one. Even those who never step foot into the country for the past 10 years, we on their ring light, tell you things as if they are quoting directly as a witness. So you as a person, when you probably privileged to some certain, information directly, not like, yes and now, then you begin to wonder like, is it something I'm not getting right, or is it something that I'm missing out of this whole context? So
Okay,
it's a high
big
stuff for so many people. Yeah.
sure, big Ola. So that voice note with Mohbad and Wumi having the altercations, Mohbad saying if you buy me, accusing her directly cursing and doing all those things. Do you think it is fake? And don't you think it is the holy evidence of anything between Mohbad
When
and
the
Wumi?
moment, sorry, I never said
Well,
that's a fake
so
audio.
let me add, do you think
Okay.
it came out at the right time or it was too early in the case? Just like you said, DNA is too early. in this case.
Don't misquote me. Probably you will listen to someone else. I am not the fan of whether DNA happens now or happens later. At the end of the day, they are going to have DNA. So it takes an accuser to start a request. So once that is done, I'm sure the accusee or they are accused will eventually, come forth. So irrespective of whenever they decide to go about it, it's always welcome. After all, the said person, the accused is not running away or denied coming for the test. So that being said, if you're now beginning to say, okay, the voice you said, the one you mentioned is fake, that's not fake. That's more like in a one-on-one argument or disagreement between couples, which could actually, go to any length. Just like a mother who is having a bro with a daughter or with a son, that ọmọ àlè ni ẹ́, ò ní kúre, and the rest of all of that. Does it make the child a bastard? No, I'm asking a question. Does it make the child a bastard?
No, no,
Of course,
no.
of course not. So we
Even if you act
no no
strange,
no
people
I'm
can say you
stating
are
some certain
this, you are
things. So
that.
yeah, so indirectly in the course of any argument, we have people who stated the otherwise just because they have this conversation. But uh for every expression comes as a result of an action. So I can understand, like, the depth or the level of the disagreement they are having before it to lead or get to that point. But I'm saying, like, if we now begin to go about using voice notes as evidences, then we can as well admit all other voice notes and video evidences that he has stated. But my own concern, that's why I've been saying it, all along, like, is it now a selective justice? is is
Big
assault not
Ola,
part of?
Big
Listen,
Ola,
listen,
Big
is
Ola.
assault, is
The
it not part
corona.
of, ground for justice?
I'm going back to the corona now, and I'm not trying to give them more than they can do. I don't think the corona is the one that is in charge of bullying and assault.
DNA.
You understand?
No,
Or
that's because
even DNA. The
even
corona.
sorry,
The
even the
corona
corona
should
itself
establish
is
what
it's just
by
to, it's just
Mohbad
to no
only.
corona is just to get facts. It's just to get facts. I said it. I want to be
By
quoted wrong.
Mohbad.
The corona,
Let's not
yeah, the corona
let's
is
not
just to
use
gather facts. Yeah. So because you
about what
mentioned the
buying
corona, so
Mohbad. Facts about what buying
yes.
Mohbad, not about his
Of
assault, about his
No, if
DNA or anything.
sorry now, sorry. If DNA could be a factor in what buy mobile, that's like you're looking for a motive for whoever that wanted to buy him, right?
Is it wrong?
No, of course it's right. If that's the motive, that's the decision. No, so if you at the same time is not saying whoever that assaulted him does not have any motive to buy him, then I'm beginning to see
I've
double
not
standard.
I've never said
That's
that.
why you
But
said the corona is just looking
placing
for facts.
yes,
It's just
but
looking for
placing the
facts to buy
people,
him. But
yeah, placing the
but
people that are
whoever,
next to him
yeah.
24 hours before
Mm-hmm.
his death. I think that is the most sensible thing to do, to circle
But
around, because
but
they cannot
but
arrest the
I've
whole
heard
city.
I've heard on this same platform, or probably some other platform, that it was being poisoned gradually. So indirectly, if he has been visiting one particular place and the person never visited his house, and he's been consuming that same substance for, like, several weeks, and eventually you buy. So is the person that gave you that substance at his particular house? Of course, no. So eventually, if you said the
Because
motive of the coroner is to gather information, are you just going to sit back if you consider DNA?
But
Certainly not. So you
big
need to
daddy,
spread. You need to spread. Yeah.
what what we are saying is that people around him to give information. Nobody is
Yes.
saying that they buy him. Even
No,
if
no, no, no.
Mohbad,
The
oh
wife,
wait, listen,
the wife
listen,
is there.
wait
Okay.
now, let me talk. Even if he was poisoned, but you around him that last moment, you must have seen the symptoms, some things happening to him before he died. So that is the only thing people was calling them.
And
People
in the
was
course of
calling
doing that, sorry,
Womi.
Sazo,
Wait
in the
now,
course
let
of
me
doing that,
finish.
would
People
I
was
now beginning to
calling
point?
Womi. People was calling Womi. People was calling Adura. All the people around the house, inside the house. within 42 hours to 24 hours around Mohbad to give information. That's what people were doing. But when they
Okay.
called and they did not get information, they became angry. So after making people angry, their reaction, even I just doubt that now you guys are saying that the anger from the public is not justifiable, but you justify that.
Sorry.
Listen now,
Sazo.
let me
Okay.
finish. Let me
Okay.
finish. But I had people before justifying that because Mohbad was trying to tell Prime Boy to get out from his car and he refused. So hitting Prime Boy was justifiable because he make Mohbad to be angry. So if you make someone get angry and after that any reaction from that person, you will be blaming the person, then, and thank God we did not buy anybody. Calling Womi's name did not buy her, thank God. Bullying the baby did not buy the baby, thank God. So what is the big deal here? What is the
Can I
big deal
respond to
more
you?
than the body of Mohbad? Yes, what is
Okay.
the
Can I?
big deal more than the
When you done,
body
let me
of
respond.
Mohbad?
Just say you are
See,
done. Just don't. Just say
yes,
you are.
okay.
Okay. Now
What is
I
the
need to be.
big deal?
I need.
Wait, I'm not done.
Sorry. Hold
I'm
on.
not done. You
Okay.
say if I'm done, I should say I'm done.
Okay. Okay.
What is
Okay.
the big deal than the body of Mohbad laid in the morgue over 2 years without knowing the cost of death, while he have people around him, while he have loved ones around him, while he have people that he was taking care of around him? What is more important than, in fact, for me, as far as I know, the biggest voice for Mohbad is coming from the public, has always coming from the public. Any penny they have spent in Mohbad's death is coming from the public. Let Wunmi show me her account where she have ever used any penny from her own account, even Baba Mohbad, to say that this is my money I spent in my own son's kpai, or this is my money, my own hard money I spent in my husband's kpai. It's all coming from this same public, and you want to sit here and blame the public? No, I will not accept that. I can't. I'm done, big daddy.
I'm glad you make. Sorry. Hold on. Let me respond. I'm glad you made some certain submission, which in the eyes of the law are not true. You said people were asking her question. They kept looking for her to say something as against what was said against her. You said she was nowhere to be found to respond to certain things. In the recent sense of it, when such issue happens, what happened? The law enforcement, take charge. They invited people around the house, at least inside the house. Let me use that word. Based on what you said now, not just her, and several other people were invited by the police for statement, which she did. But I think the only problem you are having is because you expected her to come to the public and make some certain statement, which would not go down to your own, assumption. You understand? So, in the real sense of it, she was there to answer certain questions given to her by the police, and she answered them correctly according to her understanding, which I believe. And that was why she wasn't detained or arrested. If she were invited and she didn't show up, as against so many petitions that we heard, like, she has been petitioned, she's going to be arrested tomorrow, she'll be arrested next week, or this and that. By now, I'm sure she'll probably will be in police custody, languishing in one cell. But that's not true. Till date, there was no way whereby she was arrested or detained, because the only thing the police do was to invite all those people present in the same house that you mentioned, and they've done that. So if the police didn't see any reason to detain her, and since it's an investigation, she kept her mute, and you wanted her to come to the public because you feel you deserve so thing, which
Yes. How
still
many days was
listen,
that?
let me
How many
finish now. Let
days
me finish.
after
It
Bobas
doesn't.
death?
Let me finish
No,
now.
you can
Are
still
you the
answer
police
my
officer
question
investigating?
as you are
Sorry, are
making
you the one
submission.
investigating? Sorry, let me finish. Let me finish. Are you the one? You're not the one investigating this case. So it's the police, and they've invited people in the house for questioning, which is still brought down. It's still brought down to part of the investigation. So that being said, I understand the fact that the public donated money for some certain investigation as they deem it fit, which I understand. And the bulk of the money, just like you said, according to your word, goes to Baba. And if you and I and every right thinking person want to sit down and make a
To
good
Baba,
analysis,
not only to
listen,
Baba, not only to
did you
Baba,
donate
even
to,
she
no, I'm
also
saying,
received.
did you donate to her? I understand if you donated to anybody, that's understandable. That's not
I
my,
say
it's not my
public.
business.
I'm saying
Yes,
public.
I'm referring to the same
Public.
public. Listen now, listen, I'm referring to the same
Uh-huh.
public. So if you and I want to sit down, analyze, this case properly, what is the function of the DPP and what is the function of Baba's lawyer? Because in the real sense of it, the BPP should actually be the one prosecuting this case. Baba would only sit or align with the DPP for a proper investigation or for direct or a true, investigation. But whereby your so-called public, like you said, decided to get a lawyer for Baba doing a separate case, which at the end of the day will still not be validly accepted by the DPP because the police on their own fact report directly to the DPP. So now that is one of the reasons why you see several donations given to police behind door. That is why you are seeing several phones being bought given to police behind door to carry out a particular task, which I understand it could be like in the form of fast tracking. Nobody is against that. But at the end of the day, the real sense of prosecution goes through the DPP. So if by now you still have a lawyer who you feel is representing or prosecuting this case in court, you are just wasting your time because at the end of the day, the only valid channel or platform that can prosecute such case, it is the DPP. So it is high time the Baba and the donors understand that they need to align directly with the DPP. Let them use all those funds to support the DPP in carrying out their investigation. If truly he wanted justice, but in the absence of seeking for justice, or probably just want or enjoy the sensation, uh, nobody will have any issue with that. They can
But
continue
Big
to tomorrow.
Daddy,
And wait,
Big
sorry,
Daddy.
hold on, and
Okay.
and again, sorry, hold on, sorry, and again, now do we have to blame the widow again for the continuous remainder of the husband in the morgue, whereby it was the father, through was the father, through
Camera Kings, I see you. Welcome in. Energy, my love. 1, 2, 3. But if I say the truth, now you sweet me pass. Sweet me pass. Baby, energy on my 1, energy on my 2, energy on my 3. Mr. Kweke, welcome in. Everybody together, energy. 1, 2, 3, Prince Mike, welcome in, my king. Everybody, energy. My future boyfriend. See him now. Energy.